Hey guys, it's Tim from Bent Revolution, and today we're going to dip into the controversial world of bicycle tube valves. One of the most common questions I get at the bike shop is, hey, I just got this bike and now I can't figure out how to pump air into it. It's got this weird valve I've never seen before. And usually that valve is this, a Presta valve. See if you can see that. It's pretty common for people who are not familiar with this kind of valve to have some trouble with it, but once they figure it out, it's really pretty easy. You just have to have the right equipment. Okay, if we're going to talk about valves on tubes, I think the first thing we need to do is go back in time to the 1890s. It was the mid to late 1890s when a family named Schrader came up with a spring valve that would revolutionize the bike industry. It was also about the same time that basketball was invented, to give you a frame of reference. Everybody loved this innovation. It was the gold standard of valves. Then in around the 1920s, a French company came up with a Presta valve, which is a different type of valve, a thinner valve designed to correct some of the perceived weaknesses of the Schrader valve. The Schrader valve is about 2 millimeters wider than the Presta valve, but it's designed to hold lower pressure rather than higher pressure. So they needed a higher pressure valve for road bikes and that sort of thing, so they invented this Presta valve that was supposed to be better. But you talk to people today and everybody's gone crazy. People hate one and love the other, or they love one and hate the other. But let's take a look at the difference. You're probably all familiar with this kind of valve. This is the Schrader valve. And it's got a pin in the middle, so no surprise there. This looks like every car valve you've ever seen, or most bike valves that people have seen. Inflating it is no big deal. You just depress the pin using the right side of the inflator. You depress the pin, air goes in. Easy. The weakest part of a bike's rim is the hole where the valve goes through. So it's important to have that as strong as possible for high pressure tires that are narrow. So that's why the Presta valve was invented. The Presta valve looks like this. It consists of a brass fitting here and a knurled nut here that you just unwind to open up the valve, and then this pivots up and down to let the air go in and out of the valve. Then when you're done inflating it, you just close it up. This is really designed to preserve as much of the rim as possible, keep it strong, and be able to allow for higher pressures that are standard in today's road bikes. There's really no gold standard across bikes. Different types of bikes, including recumbents, have different kinds of valves, but you shouldn't let this type of valve scare you. It really is very easy as well. I kind of prefer it. Once you unwind it, you just put it onto the pump. You have to get the right kind of pump. This is just an air compressor, but push it on there, open up the valve, and boom, inflation. Then you close it up at the end. Really couldn't be easier. One thing a lot of people do is they get an adapter and they think, hey, I'll just make this adapter fit onto my Presta valve and turn it into a Schrader valve. But you're kind of turning a good valve into a bad valve at that point, because it's really not designed to have that sort of attachment. It may be good for emergencies. I mean, you can go to any gas station in the country, it seems like, and be able to inflate a Schrader valve or a Presta valve with a Schrader adapter. But you can't just find a Presta pump just any place. It's usually at a bike shop or something like that. So the key is being able to understand what kind of valve you have and the right way to pump it up. To inflate the Presta valve, you're going to need a compressor with a Presta capable head or a pump with a Presta head. This one has a two-sided valve. So this side is the Presta side, labeled with a P, how handy. And this is the Schrader side, labeled with an S, how handy. So in this case, you put the valve on and then just lock that lever onto the valve by pulling it away from the valve, and then pump your pressure in there as you would normally. So I hope that helped. I hope you understand how the Schrader valve works and the Presta valve works. And we'll see you in the next video.